Welcome to the Broadcast Brothers. I'm Justin Faisongo. This is Jonah Holava'a, and we are going to start working on a short recap. We got some ideas for a couple episodes here that we're going to try and put together with some different guests. And tonight we got a really special guest. But before we get into that, welcome back home. Well, not home for you, but welcome back to the mainland, Joe.
Thanks. Yeah, I was kind of sad actually leaving. Flying back. I kind of had a little bit of blues just because that race was so fun and the whole trip was just a fantastic time. But yeah, it was definitely time to come back.
Just some quick pointers or points. How did you guys start the race? How did you guys feel early on?
Yeah. So we started out. Well, I guess before we started, one of our first crew guys was unable to make it, so we had to kind of make some audibles. So luckily we had our second crew, so we had to pull Garen from the second crew. Garen's one of Hano's strong paddlers on their first team, and he originally was going to be on our second crew. And so Sinkus was unable to make the race, so
That's a bummer. Yeah.
we had to plug Garen in, and he fit in just fine. And
cool.
So I think that kind of put a small wrench in it, but we just adjusted like we normally do. And then so our starting lineup, we had Judson. I think the lineup was Judson and Garen. The two kind of Judson, Garen, Will. I think Will was in the middle. So the three additions to our Lanakila team. And then you had Danny 4, Matt was 5, and then Josh Creighton steering. So I guess the word I'm really interested to talk to our next guest about, like, the line and what he was hearing about, and anyone else for that matter. I never got a chance to talk to other paddlers about the line, but so I guess it was a rising tide, and but it was like a interesting current. Something was happening with the current where it was pooling. Everyone was saying it was like it was gonna pool south as soon as you broke from Lao Point. So our plan was to stay north. So it looks like you got the clip here with us right behind Lanakila.
Lanakila, yep.
Yeah. And so we covered them, and I want to say they kind of had they had the same idea as us of just kind of staying on a more northerly line. But Shell, man, Shell, of course, punched out in the lead. I think Shell and Oceania punched out in the lead. But from what we could see, because I was on the escort boat at the start, yeah, Shell had already a pretty significant lead, and they immediately went south. Like, they were the furthest south team. So I was a little intrigued by that, because we were the further north team, one of the furthest north teams. We're in that. So to answer your question about like what happened in the beginning of the race, so we're in this front pack, and I want to say we were like in fourth at Lao Point. And so yeah, Shell was definitely trending south. Oceania followed them, and then Wailea kind of just followed onto that line as well, and they were just kind of working Oceania, and then we were in that fourth spot, and then Lanakila kind of just, man, as soon as we hit Lao Point, they just went right in front of us, and as soon as the conditions started really kicking, you saw them kind of surge, and then we kind of sat on them, kind of stayed behind them, and then nipping us at the heels was Kauai Wa'a, or Moloka'i, but it's pretty much all the Kauai boys. And what was interesting was they kind of went south too. And so yeah, that's the thing. We haven't done this race in so long, so it's like you kind of have a plan going in. Unlike Catalina, where It's less conditions. It's more of a straight shot. I like to. We're talking about like, uh, if there were like a triple crown of like,
Yeah,
the
races
big
like
the
a
big
series.
three. Yeah, series like Catalina, Moloka'i, and Hawaii Nui.
Hmm.
All three races are so different, right? You're
Hmm.
using different crafts, uh, different canoes, different conditions, just different waters. But you know, Catalina is kind of more like a motor speedway, right? Like the Indy 500, right? It's
Hmm.
pretty point blank, just fast speed, straight lines, just kind of predictable, right? Or a little bit more predictable. Where I feel like the Moloka'i Hoe is kind of starting to get into like, um, like a off road race where kind of like you go from like the Indy 500 to like the Baja the Baja 5000 or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I guess
yeah.
you can also make a case that like, Hawaii Nui is like that too. But so we had a plan with our line to kind of stick to that line. And but yeah, I'm interested to hear from other teams and steersmen, like what was their plan, what was their plan going in. Because remember Uncle Kavika from last week, he
Oh
was
yeah.
on
Hmm.
the call.
Yep.
And I remember he came up on us like halfway through the race, like was like, "Hey, you guys are in top five right now. You guys are tied for fifth with Kalahui Kai and Kauai Va'a or something like that." And we could see them like half a mile south of us.
Hmm.
You could see their escort boats. So we were just kind of like overlapped for like the longest time, even though we were by ourselves. And so, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was still so fun. But yeah, the
Right.
line was very interesting. And like, um, it really tested your patience. It tested our patience because you know we couldn't quite turn down and surf. It's quintessential Molokai Hoe conditions, right? Like the trade winds were back. I want to say it was kind of early in that series of trade winds, so the winds were there, but the conditions were kind of on the sloppier side. They
Yeah.
weren't as clean.
Hmm.
I mean, according to our standards, right? It was kind
Yeah.
of for these, us training in California. Um, but yeah, I got the sense that it was like early trade wind, so it wasn't fully lining up like kind of corduroy, that
Hmm.
kind of straight lines that we're used to. But the
You did
channel's the
get.
channel,
Yep.
you
You
just
you
gotta.
guys did get some though. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think what we're looking at here is when we could finally turn down. You know, um, they made the call, or escort boat driver made the call that we can kind of finally turn down. I'd say almost, I'd say 3 hours into the race.
Hmm.
So for us to, kind of keep up with the like, kind of fifth place was definitely a measurement of like, it was like fitness versus, other teams that were really good at surfing. So we
Hmm.
really played to our strength, being the California team, that, you know, doesn't get to train in, epic surf like that. But all in all, it was good fun. I was telling myself how iconic it was, how, sitting in one and just seeing the red number 8 canoe, outriggers canoe, was pretty special. Felt iconic, especially when we're kind of rounding Diamond Head and you start to see Waikiki. Um, that's always such a great feeling. And it was just a good feeling to have that again for once because it's been so long. And
Yeah, there was a live shot of you guys, mid Waikiki, and you guys looked fresh. I mean, you looked great. I was really, really stoked, and I was super proud of you guys. And yeah, we were all yelling for you at the TV.
yeah, yeah, we kind of I was hoping we were gonna catch up to the Kauai guys, but they were just a little out of reach. I
Yeah.
mean, they did
Hmm.
a really good job surfing the Hawaii Kai run because we saw them, but we kind of just got to a point where they're probably moving the same speed, and we weren't any faster, and it just kind of stayed that way. So
Yeah.
I think they got us by like a solid minute,
Hmm.
but but yeah, no
After
complaints,
40
man.
plus miles a minute's not, yeah, I mean, it's not long, man.
Yeah, and I think we were within like 6 minutes of Kalahui Kai, which is pretty cool. And but again, back to that line, I was the biggest surprise for me was Lanakila not in that top 3 mix.
Yeah.
And I can't help but to wonder, I was like, was it the line? You know, I don't know. You know, hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Right. You can armchair
but,
quarterback that one to
we
death.
can armchair quarterback all the way, man. But but you know, to come in to finish that race in the top 10 was just,
Yeah,
I mean,
8th place.
that's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of saying
with a real California team too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of paddlers are, you know, saying like, hey man, this is one of my best finishes, and I'm another one of those paddlers that's saying that too. You know, it's I think that was the beauty of doing the race this year. It was a bit of a crapshoot, right? Like you didn't know who was gonna come. You know, you kind of don't really have the data on teams. I mean, you're kind of just more so going off the data from Catalina and the Henry Ayao race, right? And so there's a lot of unknowns going into Moloka'i Hoe this year, but yeah, just overall grateful for the experience and the fact that it's back. The race is back, and all the hard work that you know, I put in with the boys, the Lanakila boys this year. So
yeah,
good times.
Well, congratulations, brother. That's it was impressive, fun to watch, and for the guys that raced first time across, Matt Judson and Garen, Castaway's Outrigger will be ready for you because you might as well hang it up now. This is the best it's gonna get, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
Will and I joked around about that, but man, it's gonna be hard to top for those brothers, man. That's a great race for their first time across the Kaiwi Channel.
Yeah, it's a good point. You know, yeah, you know, we're pretty lucky. So
yeah,
and it was fun.
Well,
I mean, it was just so fun. You know, I think top 10 placing aside, you know, I mean, I remember, you know, because I've been on some teams where it was survival mode. You know, like we've lost paddlers. I've been on some teams where like, oh man, we lost a guy. We got to finish with 8.
You're gonna be 7 and 8. Yeah.
You know, I'm helping the steersman from seat 5, like from the very beginning of the race. You know, so I've been on some crews, where it was like it felt like survival mode at times, and
what you're saying, brother, is you paid your dues, bro.
Yeah, for sure. But I remember, you know, catching some waves, and I was like, wow, that was probably the best wave I think I've ever caught in a 6-man, like in open ocean. Like, I mean, I think this is the first Kaiwi, the first Moloka'i Hoe where it was like paddles down, you know, like you're just sitting, just rocking with the,
letting it happen.
Like I've never been on cruise where like you're just catching a wave and just, you know, sitting and just the kind of like high five seat 2 behind, kind of blocking my face because I'm getting sprayed, you know, like
getting pitted.
Yeah, so I mean that clip you just put up, that was probably one of our, you know, that was probably one of them, you know, and it was just like those moments, you know, I was just so grateful for it. It was like, man, it was and it was fun. It was just so much fun.
In that clip, and I cut the audio out because, you know, we're talking over it, but in that clip you can hear Will like telling everybody, hey guys, you need to watch this. Like these guys are making a run here, and it look, you know, you guys need to pay attention to what's going on, and he's telling them, you know, it's pretty good. It's great.
Yeah. And I think that was coincidentally right when the the media boat kind of just like took off right when we came in, like right when we did a water change. They kind of just they took off to another team or whatever. I don't know where they went, but yeah, we definitely got on a nice run for that combo. Which was actually that lineup, that combo was all Lanakila, so it was pretty special. I was like, oh man, like this is cool. It's all, you know, it's all the Lanakila boys, you know, that have been there all year long. So
right on. So, well, hey, we can talk about this for another hour and a half, which we will over the span of a couple episodes here. But one thing that we were very, very lucky and blessed to have is our guest coming on here. And you and I talked about this. We're like, man, when did we first hear him on the call? And you and I both agreed it was 2017, IVF long distance Tahiti. And I just happened to find a really cool clip. I'm going to play it right now for us. Hang on.
Man, look at NAC. Wow, this is a great battle, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. You can see nice long strokes. And California with a higher rate. They have a higher rate. Look at that. This is a battle, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Look at that. NSA slowly moving forward. Slowly, but look at that. This is a battle. Wow. And you can see the stroke rate for the California team just slightly higher. And they're moving. They're looking great. So, yes, NAC is taking the lead here. Wow. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. So
exciting stuff.
That was exciting. Yeah. I remember vividly watching that. And anyways, we're really, really lucky. He was on the call then. He was on the call from Moloka'i Hoe. He's been on the call for dozens and dozens of races. And something we aspire to do ourselves, right? And so
absolutely.
Without further ado, wide receiver for the University of Hawaii, 91, 92, and 93. And contributor to the National Geographic. He's also been a contributor on some motion pictures, Polynesian Ancestral Knowledge webinar. And man, super excited to talk to this brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Johann Bouit.
Hey, what's up, Speedy, yeah, that's Jim Leahy, who broadcasted our UH games. Yeah, he gave me that nickname, the Speedy from Tahiti. So yeah, it kind of stuck. Everybody kind of liked that name. It sounded pretty good, and of course, it's for me, it was just an honor to represent my country. We don't have very many American football players that play at a very high level, and so I'm pretty sure I'm the first one that got a scholarship to Division I, and then during my whole last season that I played. I was followed closely by the Atlanta Falcons, just sending me letters. They were interested in me, and so I was just getting ready for an awesome last season. And then I broke my foot, and so it's like all these aspirations. I mean, it was never really my goal to go to the NFL, but once they started getting interest, I was like, yeah, why not? Why not? I kind of owe it to myself. I've been working hard to become a starter. I was a starter, as you mentioned, for 4 years, 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And I only had been playing a couple of years before that. So I was like super passionate, and so I know I had capabilities of going to the next level, but it's also about chance. It's about being there at the right place at the right time. I did get a lot of injuries during my career, so I think I kind of tried and trained and worked out too hard. They're never in games. I was always in practice, but yeah, I had a wonderful experience at the University of Hawaii, and so that's pretty much my claim to fame when it comes to sports, high-level sports. And then after that, I just started running track and field for the Tahiti national team, went to the Olympic trials for '96. I started to do some other things, and of course, when you're a Tahitian, you're pretty much following everything that's going on. And so paddling has always been in the scene of my family. My family, everybody, I can name you all the world champions. My cousin Eric Dean is the one that steered Team Oceania. So
yeah,
that's where I come from. They decided to be more serious in the paddling world, and I was doing other things. Making our family proud, making our country proud. But then I'm always so enthusiastic and just. When I started doing commentary, it was because it was my family. My family is like winning world championships. My family is just, so I was like, if I could just, be part of that, that'll be pretty awesome. And so I got involved in, we were always involved in paddling. I mean, my first Moloka'i Hoe was in 1978. My family came down. We were 1,000 Tahitians to come for the Aloha Festival. And so greeted by the Rollins family. Can you believe that? And it's so funny because here I am back in, it's 2024, and I'm once again hosted by the Rollins family, Lorelei, Rollins, Carrillo, And so it's like full circle. And then we talked about with the mom, with Lorelei's mom, about my family, and it was just like well, going back to the roots, I guess you could say, yeah. And so, yeah, like everybody, we were super happy that it came back. There was so much doubt that the Moloka'i Hoe wasn't going to be held anymore. And I was just like, no way, is that gotta be possible? That is, as you said, that's one of the big threes. We always talk about Catalina, we always talk about the Moloka'i Hoe, and of course the Hawaii Nui. And so, being part of the big three, if Molokai doesn't exist anymore, it'd be a huge loss for the paddling world. So yeah, I was happy. I think everybody was happy to get back on the water to do that crossing. And I think I've done over 50 crossings just following. I paddled with the Pure Light Adaptive team in 2008. So it was the first time we did that.
Oh,
crossing.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember you guys that year. Yeah.
Right, we went, it took off, and everybody said, "Oh, did it start already?" And then no, they gave us 30-minute lead here.
Yep.
And then we finished in 8 hours. That's so you can believe the but that's you're talking about the channel and all these aspects, and it's true that every year it's pretty different. And we were hoping for surf, and prayers were answered. Kavika came across from Oahu with Lanakila. And the current was pushing towards Moloka'i. Can you believe that? And that was like 3 days before the race. And Carell was just saying, "Man, I hope it's not going to be like this." It took them from Magic Island to Kaunakakai. It took them 2 hours.
Wow.
And in a span of 2 days, you remember there was no wind. It was just like still.
Yep.
And then the wind picked up right the day before. And so there was a change. We're like, okay, there's going to be a change of conditions when that happens. Usually, winds and stuff. They usually stay for about 4 or 5 days and stuff like that. And the currents also kind of play with that. And so we were like, yes. Once the wind came back on, we were like, okay, it's not going to be like Thursday morning or Thursday day where everything was just moving towards Moloka'i. Right. And they were like, Sorry, I just pretty much went off there.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So much stories, so many things to talk about. You guys, how long do we have? I don't know if I have enough battery here.
I do.
Well, that's why you're here. Yeah,
I know.
That's why he's here. Yeah.
So look, I'll give you guys kind of show you guys that I'm actually in Rotorua in New Zealand. So I have a close relationship with the Maori. A lot of the iwi I work with. When I say iwi, it's the big tribes. And so we do a lot of cultural exchange, but a lot of educational programs between schools in Tahiti and schools in Aotearoa, as we like to say. And so that's been wonderful for the kids, just enriching and I do that on the side because I just want to help out the communities. And usually these kids, I have like 10 of them with us, and they've never been on a plane. They're Tahitians, never been on the plane. First time leaving in cold weather. It's like, I want to say cold. It's like 70 degrees right now. So it's nice. It's beautiful.
Right.
But for them, we're like, putting on 3 jackets. And so, so we have an opportunity to, crossing the fender, but we're going to be going down south. So it's going to be even colder. We're expecting in the 40s. And then we're going to be spending a day with the queen, the Maori queen, who just, her father just passed away this year, a couple months ago. And so she took his place. And she's a young queen, 27, 28 years old. And so, but really, really involved with the community. All the Maori community really wanted her to be the next monarch to the Kingitanga. They call it the Kingitanga, and so, so I have a great opportunity. And I said, okay, I'm coming with my group, and made it happen. So I'm here straight from Moloka'i. Monday left, went back to Tahiti, got the gang together. Wednesday, boom, popped up over here. So this is where I've been the last couple of days. Yeah.
In a few weeks, you have Hawaii Nui.
Yep, getting ready for that, and it's not 100% sure, but Team Hawaii reached out to me. They want me to cover them in essence, so to help out with their sponsors. Maybe we can send some stuff to KHON, or maybe even do a documentary film. So we're still working out the little details in regards to that. But I'm really happy. I followed Team Hawaii in 2010. There's a documentary that I came out with about that Hawaii Nui. And so from that team, we had Kekoa Kramer, we had Kai Bartlett, we had all the guys that are now in their 40s, Cabral and everything like that. So it's a new generation coming up, led by Jimmy Austin. Okay, he's not the young guard, but still, Jimmy Austin is probably the only one from that team that is coming back up. And then, of course, we have quite a few Hawaii women's team. Like Team Bradley's going to come up, and they should win again. They're so strong. And so, yeah, I'm going to cover the women's races, and because they have 2 this year. Before, it's only just 1 day.
Right.
So they have two legs. And, of course, the Team Hawaii men. So I'm pretty excited about that, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So it sounds like I remember the Kanaki Kaika race series. They were talking about formulating their team, right, for Hawaii Nui based on individual results. I don't know if you were kind of informed on that, but
yeah, I talked to Kikoa, I talked to Carell, and they're a little bummed because they didn't get invited. So,
okay.
So if you have the two, the two best,
top steersmen,
top steersmen and all of them, not going. So it's about just the new generation getting an experience. I don't think they're looking forward to a top finish. I think it's just about getting good experience. I think that's all. That's pretty much. I believe, building a foundation for the future. Yeah, for sure.
Do you know?
You never know.
Who else is on that team? The men's team.
No, I just got word today, like a couple hours ago. Yeah, so it's brand new. I've been riding back and forth and stuff like that. So yeah, I asked about that to the guys because I heard about it, and then just today just told me only Jimmy Austin from the 2010 team is coming. So yeah, I don't know who else is coming, but you probably. Now I know that this guys from Wailea, from Lanakila, from every club team in Hawaii are coming for sure. I know Danny Ching was a part of that team in 2010 also. So yeah, he's not coming, and so yeah, we'll see. But we can do another podcast once I get all that information before the we can talk about that for sure. Yeah,
we'll do some. Yeah, we'd love to pick your brain on some pre-race predictions.
Oh yeah, and then of course the race itself. Yeah, I know. I've been following since 2004, which I was doing commentary for. So I've been doing commentary for 20 years. On the local Tahitian scene, and we have 50 races a year on average, 50. And so that was one thing that we wanted.
Experience.
Yeah. And so our young people, they have a chance, to compete against the top teams pretty much every week. And that's, I think, contributed to the development of our paddlers.
Yep.
It's just having that competition, the series. You have the big rendezvous, the big races, but then you have races every week. And so, before the Moloka'i Hoe, Shell, the last 2 races, Shell didn't even win. And so I followed Shell on the last race before the weekend before Moloka'i Hoe.
And it was a 2-hour race.
Yeah, the air team, and it was a 2-hour sprint. I swear to God, it's a 2-hour sprint. Nobody's letting up for 2 hours straight. No. And we're talking about 4 teams: Shell, Va'a, Air Tahiti, Enviropo, and Team OPT, who won by 11 seconds. But they won because of they had inside, I guess inside track on the buoy, and that's what made the difference. Pretty much that little mistake. And so once you have inside on the turn, then it's hard for the person on the outside to come back, and that's pretty much was the difference. Yeah, that was pretty much the difference. Yeah.
You know what? Just a little touch about that race, Johan. OPT paddled in a different canoe than a Matahina, and was it the same canoe that Kevin has at Huahine? It looked like it has that different nose to it's a different canoe. Okay.
No. It's a brand new Matahina. Okay. And it was super fast.
Yeah.
Super fast. Super light. And so I was on Shell Va'a's team, and they were like saying, "Hey, wait a minute. I don't think." Okay, this is them saying. Okay, they looked at the Va'a. They're like, "Is it the 150 kilos? Is it really that weight?" Of course, we don't know. Of course, they didn't do. I'm not too sure how that works for them on the Air Tahiti Nui race. If there was a weighing it before the race, but yeah, Shell said, "Hey, I think you guys have a magic Va'a," and Team OPT was just like, "Hey, yeah."
Well, we'll see for Hawaii Nui because they'll wear it out before Hawaii Nui. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is that's Team OPT's second team. That's not the first team.
Whoa.
That was their second team.
Oh.
So it wasn't the main guys that were paddling in that race. So even more so, Shell was like, "Wow, what's going on over here?" Because usually, they take that, under 50 strokes a minute over there, and just like, and and they're going at the same speed, on the same whole speed, but they're just doing less than 50 strokes a minute. And you have to be super strong to be able to maintain that momentum, you know, with that less of strokes. And that's how they paddle pretty much 1 hour into the race. And then the last hour, they started to pick up the rate. And yeah, and then, but just OPT was pretty much consistent for 2 hours. I was like, wow, when are they going to tire? And then they didn't tire. And even Air Tahiti didn't tire. And Air Tahiti had their first team. But yeah, Team OPT was a huge surprise in that Air Tahiti race. And even I was just like, wow, they're looking good. I know some of the paddlers, like I was one of the coaches for Anieri, yeah? So he's a second, the big guy. He's a super awesome swimmer. So I was a swim coach and a life-saving coach. And that's he's super strong. He's like 240 pounds, 230 pounds. He's a huge guy, and he's in the number 2 seat. And with that kind of weight, more weight you have on the va'a, the more friction, of course, the more surface, prevents the va'a from moving. And even with him on it, it looked light. So that was pretty impressive. So there's something. Yeah, we need to see that va'a again on the water.
I want to see it. I want to see it too. Yeah.
And then of course the one the Huahine, we call it the baleine. That's the whale. Yeah. So Hironui is a Whareara's number one. They won 2 times with that va'a. And Remo Atak was the builder. He's from Mongareva. He's down south, way southeast, 1 time zone away. Yeah. And so he used to paddle for Whareara when they won the first time, and then the second time it was with Danielson, John Rikishen, and of course Manute Owen as a steers person on that same va'a. So that same va'a was refurbished, I guess you could say, renovated. They took out some strips, they put on some more, they redid the cover. They did a lot of work, and they worked with our good friend Alex Perlou from Viper Va'a. So in the warehouse with the Viper Va'a, they brought it back to new, and then they molded the old Va'a to make the one that Kevin and Manute Mia are going to be paddling in the Hawaii Kino side. I'm really excited to see that one because it's lighter, it's lighter in a sense, and it's much sturdier, of course. And I want to see that how it's going to be doing against the Matahina. Yep. So it's kind of nice to see another va'a than the Matahina on the water, because everybody know, okay, Matahina, It's like, back in the days in the Moloka'i Hoe, when the Mirage was the va'a that was just, flying, then everybody started to get Mirage, and then and then all of a sudden the Briley Striker came out, or Lightning came out, and Shell va'a took it. So since they started doing now, everybody has there's no, unfortunately, there's no variety or diversity in regards to the va'a or the hulls. So it's nice to see that, there's going to be one, at least with Whareara and Team Huahine, a different va'a than the Matahina. Yeah.
So Johann, speaking of diversity and, change of scenery, something new.
Yes.
Shell just won their 13th Moloka'i Hoe, right?
Yeah.
Is there, and your boots on the ground, obviously, you see a lot what's going on in Tahiti, and you touched on OPT earlier, but is there a team that you can see kind of being that next dynasty or that next great team?
It's hard to say. I have to. Well, see, Shell just reloads. I mean, if you're at that level consistently all year long, you usually last about 3-4 years, and then you get tired, and then you want to be back to the family life and doing things normally. And so, Shell's always been there since I followed their very first race in 1997, and they won the first leg in the Hawaii Kino, which was a super surprise. Nobody was expecting it, And of course, Pira was a favorite team there. And so when it comes to, the next generation, we have to say EDT. EDT has a huge junior program. They had 4 boys teams at the World Sprints, and then they had 4 girls team. They they've just put all their means into the next generation of paddlers. And so from that, usually, because a lot of times you have club teams that have really good paddlers, but they lose it to big team, to the bigger teams. And when I'm talking losing it to the bigger teams, I'm talking about Team OPT to Shell. Like as I mentioned in my broadcast, that 2 paddlers that were on Shell that are starters are like the 2, and we're talking about Bryce and then Vairoa. They came
young,
from Po'amok. Yeah, they came from Tua'amok. They were the best paddlers in Bora Bora with Tua'amok, and then they came to Shell, and Vairua came in April, and so, and then you have another young paddler from Raiatea, Reihiti, and he's only 18 years old, and he's from Raiatea, yeah. So Shell is gonna. I'm just thinking, how can Team OPT is doing well? They won last year. If Keone Sulpice didn't jump off the boat, or whatever happened in that rig, they would have won. Shell would have won because they were dominant in the first two legs. Yeah, but Team OPT is they've proven they changed coaches again, and so. That's a good question, Joe. I wish I could tell you that there's the next best team. I'm hoping that for me, I'm hoping that the little clubs, get together and do something more. But it's hard to beat a contract from one of the big teams. And when I say a contract, it's a working contract. And then you have some really good paddlers that just, they're really good paddlers. But if they could provide for their families, that's the route that they're gonna take. If David Tebava comes, if David Tebava comes and say, "Hey, I want you on my team," you pretty much say yes, and you're gonna get the quality, you're gonna get the, the doctor, you're gonna everything around you to become the best paddler you can become. And David has been such a teacher, I interviewed every single paddler on that team, and they all credited David. They said, I thought I was a good paddler until I came on this team, and I had to completely look at my way of paddling differently, because he brought in something that they never learned. Yeah. And so, he said that their practices go according to the race that is coming up. And so they adjust everything all the time. And you know how it is. Okay. In most club teams, it's good to have guys consistently come, and then you get a good rhythm, you get a good program, everybody's on the same page. Imagine having to do that every week, doing something different.
Right. So
you really have to be a good paddler to adjust and understand what he's trying to do, and at the same time be performing at the highest level every week. And for a lot of people, that's a huge load. It's a huge responsibility, of course, because you don't want anybody let down. And if you don't perform well, that you pretty much leave the team. It's not like you're getting kicked out. You said, look, you got to perform at this level. You got to do what David says. If you're not doing that, then you don't have your seat. And the 3 guys that came along, they came along, and 3 days before the race, they still didn't know who was going to be paddling in the 9. So it's like, they keep you on edge all the way. They want you to work hard, push each other hard, and then like everything, you're going to pick the best they're going to do. And David's done a great job. Normally he's in the boat. Yeah, normally he's in the VA. And the fact that, I went on those runs, and, the fact that we had 75 teams or 76 teams only compared to like the 120 or 120. So you had really good quality va'a or boats or canoes that were being used. And so Shell was able to get va'a that is exactly like theirs, and they were able to do those Hawaii Kai runs, those 3 downwind runs, to really adjust all the things that they needed to adjust. And I was saying on the broadcast that if you follow Shell va'a, David is on the bullhorn, and he doesn't let up for the whole race. He can see the water. He can see how his paddlers are not adjusting to certain conditions, or how he can do it better. Or, okay, keep on that bump. Don't worry, there's another bump coming. There. Now you can go. He's just anticipating everything on the bullhorn, and these guys are just listening to every single little thing the whole race, the 4.5 hours. Yeah, and that's incredible. That's incredible.
I remember, I think you even mentioned too, they're taking a lot of rowing philosophies, right? And kind of coaching, and to me that sounds like a rowing coach, right? We hear him all the time here in Newport Harbor, from on the bullhorn from the motorboat, kind of barking at the crew.
Yeah, David said that if you're not learning or doing something new or learning to get better, then you should stop already.
Yeah.
And so he's a paddler coach, and I asked him, okay, is that it? You're just gonna paddle? You're just gonna be coach? He said, no, I'm coming next year. So he's not finished yet.
He's keeping
Everybody's
everyone on their toes.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that he just say that and he's like, no, I do want to do the Moloka'i Hoe on the Koa. That would be a great experience, you know. And so I'm thinking he's gonna come back next year. He's gonna you know, maybe try to win on the Koa next year. And if they do win, you know, and of course it'll continue. It's up to him. But look, he just needs one more victory to tie Tom Connor's 11 victories, 11 crossing victories. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if they didn't have COVID, he would have passed. He would have been the most winningest, you know, paddler in the Moloka'i history. And, you know, and so he said, I still got a lot to give. You know, this team is great. I'm doing the coaching this year. I got some things going on a personal level, you know. And so, yeah, anyway, so
well, it sounds like,
okay. Yeah.
It sounds like Tupu. It sounds like Tupu was onto it with the system. Tupuria had that video, and you know, we had him on the call once about, you know, speaking to their system and why they're so good. And if you want to beat Shell, you got to beat their system. And it just sounds like they're just so well funded. The opportunities are there for their paddlers, and it's just that next man up kind of philosophy.
Next man up, but also the philosophy of never really sitting on their laurels, as we say, you know,
not comfortable.
Not comfortable. The fact that he changes things up a lot. You know, he came in and, you know, using the hutiro, I mean, exaggerated hutiro, as you would call it, because it's just like, no, I want them to reach out with a nice long stroke, come back, we'll wait a little bit.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, I think maybe.
I think
his battery
around lost his connection. You know, on that note, though, can you imagine you know, like, how's this for a full circle story for him? He comes back next year, races on the Bradley Koa, and wins the race, right? An opportunity to tie Tom Connors.
Yep.
But what if there's an opportunity to break the record in a Koa canoe?
Right. Or like, finish first overall in a Koa canoe, right?
Oh, I mean,
that hasn't been done in a long time.
Yeah, there's just so many, so much, I mean, there's so many wonderful takeaways, so many what ifs, so many just like beautiful stories that like it's just gonna be a content generating machine for us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, like, you know, like, I don't know, maybe Johann's battery died and maybe whatever it might be, but there's so much more I have to ask that guy.
That's how I met him, you know. I was like, I have so many questions. And you know the high stroke rate that he was talking about that OPT had. Brada's got a pretty high stroke rate vocally, man. He can just like, he can belt it.
One thing I wanted to ask him, having done this for 20 years, is, you know, what the transition points in from when he started to now, because he's a very smooth commentator now. Like, he does flow a lot, and he fires a lot, but there's like, you know, I mean, going back to my first time with Ultra Paddler TV, saying awesome all the time, right? So like those things, having worked through some of those things, and it's like, it just seems like it gets better and better, more polished and easier to talk about.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a horse racer commentator, you know, just like high energy, can deliver so much information in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And you notice a lot of his calls, he's by himself. Yeah. And that's something that you and I would have a hard time with. Yes. I feel like, you know, it's called the broadcast Bradas after all. Like, it's you and I, you know, so his approach, his skill set is so unique with how he calls races. And I mean, man, he said it best, right? Like, there's a race every week in Tahiti, and he's been doing this for 20 plus years.
Yep.
And he
has a lot of practice, bro. A lot of practice.
Plenty practice. I mean, he's been doing it for 20 plus years. We've been doing it for barely 20 months. And so that's why we have so many questions. I hope we can get him back on, but
we'll you know, I know he's on kind of holiday right now, and you know, super thankful that he was able to join us for the short amount of time he was, and look forward to having him on again, which we will definitely. We'll have to make this a multi-part series with him. But
yeah, Johann check-ins, or
yeah.
where in the world is Johann?
Yeah. We'll put a striped sweatshirt on him and take pictures of him everywhere. But yeah, like I said, just in the short amount of time we had with him right here, it's like I just listen to what he's saying and how he moves, how he flows, dialogue, and all that stuff. I'm like, bro, like 20 months in, and we got 20 years to go.
Yeah, he's like a Tahitian paddler's encyclopedia.
Yeah.
He is just full of mana'o.
Yep.
Man, I had so many questions. I barely got through my list.
I know.
But all good. What else do you have any other questions about the channel?
I have a lot, but I actually want, because I know we have kind of plans on what we're trying to do, and I want to save a bunch for as we navigate through this, because there is a lot. I will say the biggest surprise for me watching from on TV was the fact that Coach David didn't steer that race. I was really surprised that he allowed. I wanted
to ask him that. Yeah,
I was really surprised that he allowed one of the young guys to take the wheel, so to speak. And again, that's part of being a coach. On a world stage like that, like I would think he would have tried out a steersman at Catalina, for example, right? It's a little bit more safe.
Not the channel.
Not Moloka'i, not the Hoe, but he did. And again, like if you watch the video, he is yelling in the bullhorn the whole time. And that was one question I wanted to ask him. Like, was there a point where he was like getting after the guys for like, okay, we're 5 minutes off record pace, like let's go? Or was it just like, was it just coaching along the way? Like, okay, keep it going, that type of thing. And like what the strategy was overall. I saw the interview with him and Coach David early. And all Coach David said is our strategy is to get out front early and just, run our race. And that was it. That was very, very simple. And I feel like that's a kind of automated response for those guys. They keep their cards close to their chest, all the time. But that was the biggest surprise for me. And the one thing that I will say that I loved was Wailea's white paddles. Did you see those?
Yeah,
those they look great on camera.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah, they definitely did.
They were cool.
Yeah,
they were cool. But
something different, right?
Yeah, it's nice just different. Yeah, Team Oceania did great. They look great. All you guys in the top 10 look fantastic. It was sad to hear that the Arizona team, I think, had rigging issues early on, and they.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay, they're on the on the Uncle Bobby Puakea's koa canoe, right?
Yep. And the guys that went from Arizona, I'm not sure who they are, but I do know that there were a couple hands in helping rig that canoe, and I think it came apart early, like in the first. I don't think they made it off past the point. I'm not sure, but it was early. Yeah.
Maybe that's for the better.
Well, yeah, I mean,
right?
It was at least close enough to land to get it back to land, right? Because I don't think it made it across the channel. I think they took it back to Moloka'i and got it back on shore there. But I heard it fully sunk, like it was.
Oh, they recovered it though, right?
They recovered it, yeah.
Okay. Jeez.
I think what they didn't. I don't know. Again, everything I hear is third hand, but I heard that they had a problem. They had a hard time tying it up. And when they tried towing it, they kind of finished it off. But I think they got it back to the beach. Again, it's like third-party information, but pretty bummed to hear that, So, but for the rest of the guys that crossed, I mean, there was a team that was 8.5 hours, which was 4 hours after Shell finished.
Wow.
It's a lot of paddling, brother.
Yeah.
That's like one of those struggling races that you talked about,
Yeah, we've all kind of, I shouldn't say we've all, but I've definitely been, not 8 hours deep, but, finishing, I've finished anywhere from in the 30s. Like the highest I've ever finished before last weekend was like 32nd, and that was with a really good Northern California, some of the best Northern California paddlers at that time, and, I was talking to my friend Mike recently, Mike Litter, and he said it best. He was like, it's kind of like when because he's, I've crossed the channel with him in the 6-man, and and for the solo, he's done the solo too. But he said it best. He said, when you cross the channel, it's like, because the channel is so different every time, it's like you're playing the same video game, but you're unlocking different levels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or it's kind of like, or like the way I see it too is like, let's say you pass the video game, right? You've done the course before, you've done the video game before, but there's some like secret vault or something, and that's you learning something new in the channel or seeing something different in the channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was like the perfect metaphor, and it's so true for canoe paddlers. It's like you're unlocking a new stage in the video game that is the Kaiwi channel.
Yeah.
Because it is different every time, and you're, you could be, Lanakila, or you could be San Francisco Outrigger Canoe Club every year you do it, but your team is going to be different too.
Yeah.
You're going to have you're going to be the same club, but you're most likely going to have different crewmates,
Yeah.
And different combinations. And so, but yeah, that's, to me, that was such a great description.
You guys, again, you guys had an unreal crossing, and we watched it from Castaways Beach. We set up a TV, watched the whole thing. Like, we went and paddled in the morning, and then set up Starlink and watched it on the beach barbecue, like we always do. But we were glued to the TV, brother. There's like, some of the guys had to bail, and then at the end it was just like 3 or 4 of us left. We were just standing there in front of the TV watching, and watching you guys come down right in front of Waikiki. We were just yelling, like, "Yeah, bro, look at Joe, boys!" We're stoked for you guys, man.
A lot of friends and friends who don't paddle watch the broadcast, and I was interested to get their feedback. Like, hey, what did you think of? Because you've seen Moloka'i Hoes in the past, like when I've done it, like I've sent you the link, and what did you what was your thoughts on it? They loved it. They're like, hey, it was so informative, all the pre-recorded videos kind of speaking to different parts of the paddling community. So it sounds like I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but from what I saw, KHON and Sultan Air Studios, just another masterpiece. Yeah,
I would definitely say that Nawahine was really, really good. The Moloka'i Hoe was dialed into almost perfection, and having watched the whole thing, it was definitely, I mean, no doubt, the best broadcast we've seen stateside, so to speak, right? I mean, TNTV does an unreal job in Tahiti. Obviously, they have a lot of practice too. They have 50 races a year. They at least cover 25 of them, right? So TNTV does an unreal job, Sultan Air and KHON too were, I mean, it was by far the best broadcast of an outrigger canoe race I've ever seen. And this was one of the questions we were trying to get to transition with Johann was, now that we see this in real time and it's 4K and it looks good and it's like, it can be a spectator sport now anywhere in the world, what is stopping this from becoming Olympic sport?
Yeah, that was definitely one of our questions for him. Yeah. Talking to him on Moloka'i, he had some pretty strong opinions, and and
because there's definitely more than 22 countries that participate, and I'm pretty sure by Olympic standards, I think it's 22 or 23 countries have to participate. There's got to be world level competitions, or all of our canoe races are championship, national, or whatever they are, right? We name them whatever, but there's got to be a circuit of some sort or a level of some sort. They got to compete, and it's got to be a minimum amount of countries, and then it can get considered. So I think we're there, bro. Like, we're pretty close,
Yeah. Like I was saying, like, he had strong opinions, but also possible reasons why he thinks, there's, we'll let him get
save
into
it for him
eventually, but I don't see why not. It's What format do you think the Olympics?
Got to be regatta style.
I mean,
it's got to be sprints.
This is a whole nother.
I know. I think the distance part of it would be the most action packed. You know, it seems
it's the most unique.
Yeah, and it just seems to me that it's the distance. What do you say? The IVF distance championships seems to get more attention than the sprints, you know, and on the level of like international level, right? It seems to me. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I don't know the statistics, but I know what I've seen on TV, and the excitement behind watching the distance championships is way more it's just way more flow and content to it than there is watching the sprints. Again, you know, I mean, that's just what I perceive, but you know, just like we saw with Johann's clip in 2017, there's the same clips. There's same clips for Australia, same clips for Samoa. There's going to be the same clips for Brazil. You know, in some form or another, it's going to be that way. But it's definitely very exciting. You know,
and you know, and that's interesting. That's an interesting point because the IVF World Distance Championships is pretty early in its, you know, inception. You know, I mean, like. Speaking of Johann on that call for that 2017 year in Tahiti, that was the first year I want to say they held the distance.
I think you're right.
For it to have that, you know, level, that type of attraction, you know, that amount of people more interested in that format, you know.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense.
I'm not trying to say anything about the sprints or the regattas. I think they're great to watch. They hold their place. Like I love watching them. I'm entertained by them. All I'm saying is that from watching teams paddle in a triangle and having downhill sections, flat waters, you know, to catch an uphill section, there's kind of a diverse set and a filming and watching it in a triangle format's really easy because you plant cameras in the corners and you can follow boats up and down and whatnot. But you know, ultimately the point is that there's just a lot more action to it. And I think the IVF was smart by rotating every other year in the you know, on the championship stage, like the Olympics do, winter and summer. And maybe that's what they're aiming for. Maybe they're aiming for like, hey, you know, let's see which sticks better and let's see how we can format it and or what works. I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm just guessing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'd love to see that, you know. And I could see it happening. I mean, if breakdancing can make it, you know, why can't canoe paddling?
Hey, and curling's been in the Olympics for 100 years probably, and it's still there, man. Living a good life.
Well, I think that does it for me. I got
let's wrap it. You know, thank you to Johann for coming on. I wanted to read this quote. I saw it in a National Geographic article, and I'm going to read it just real quick. He's quoted saying in 2021, Polynesians focus on today with confidence in tomorrow because of their faith and guidance of their ancestors. And I thought that was pretty special, just in the aspect of being Polynesians, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that's really, really cool. And I wanted to get a little more insight on why he said that, but, you know, we'll do it next time.
You know, hearing that he's there in Aotearoa as we speak, you know, bringing these kids along, you know, they haven't been on an airplane before, just introducing them to a new culture, introducing them to the queen of
the new queen.
That's incredible. But it just sounds like, you know, him there now, back in 2008, paddling with Pure Light, the adaptive team. You know, it sounds like this guy's just been doing a lot of impactful things, not just for paddling, but just for Polynesian people for years, you know. And I want to get to know him even more.
Me too. He said his first time crossing that channel was 78. He said, did you say that's 78?
Yeah, that's
the year I was born, bro. 46 years ago.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, we have if we aspire to do what we're doing, bro, we have a lifetime ahead of us to figure all this stuff out. And I think for us, it's cool. You know, I'm excited about it.
I was gonna jokingly ask him like, so what, bro? When you broke your foot playing football, was that the moment you realized like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get into Tahitian paddling commentary.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
yep. I don't need my feet for this job.
Yeah, he did say, you know, like my family is involved, so I might as well figure out how to get involved. And kind of similar to like us, right? In some way or another, it's like, wow, I mean, we're involved at some level. Might as well just keep being involved in it, you know?
Yeah, you know, however we can, you know, kind of speaking on that Olympics, you know, kind of topic, right? We want to do whatever it takes to make an impact on the sport. And heck, if this helps grow the thing and helps to kind of take it to that next step, just if there's any people out there watching that don't paddle, that never heard of it, and they just kind of saw it for the first time, they stumbled on our channel,
message us. We'll dial you in.
Yeah, right.
I have the perfect canoe club for you.
Yes, you do. Yep, you're gonna have the likes of Judson, Darren,
and Matt,
myself, probably Matt. You know, we're gonna.
Will, he's gonna retire.
We're gonna
They're
retire.
All gonna be under the tree at Castaways.
Yeah,
barbecuing and watching the future, watching the future Moloka'i Hoes on TV.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Right on, bro.
Well, on that note, it was nice to see you this evening, and
you too.
Looking forward to next week's episode, and thanks to everyone for watching. Yeah, thank you to Johann. Thanks to everyone for watching. I know we don't ask this a lot, but please like and subscribe and share this with your friends and family. We greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next week.
Right on, brother. Aloha.
All right, aloha. Shoot.